I'm not uh really great at analysis of my own gameplay,
Mm-hmm.
so I just wanted to like get an outside view and like because of my approach to almost any game I play, it's all about the decisions you make. Overwatch,
Yeah, true.
fighting games. So it's like I look at the situation and go, what are the decisions I can make?
Right.
I actually don't have that. I don't even have like all the factors that could really be there in informing that decision. So make
Mm-hmm.
mostly uninformed decisions. So I'm trying to
Sure.
get more informed decision making.
Yeah. I like what your form says also about Jerry Palladino. Did you actually have 1,000 hours experience? Or did you just cruise on the highway in a straight line for 1,000 hours and learn nothing? um, makes sense. Makes sense. So interesting. Drawing a parallel to a few other things I'm interested in music. So you musician?
I sing.
Ah, nice, nice, nice. Okay, that's awesome. So I guess what got you into Overwatch? How long have you been playing Overwatch?
I played Overwatch around launch Overwatch 1, and then I got so tired of the triple tank meta, not even goats. This was like before even like shoot, who would have been the most recent release at that point? This was before Moira.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
quit. I quit playing it super early. I came back for the Blackwatch event, which I thought, oh, that was really cool.
yeah.
And then I just didn't play Overwatch until Overwatch 2 came out. I was like, wow, this game's actually a lot of things I really do like.
Uh huh. Makes sense. Makes sense. Okay. And what got you back in Overwatch 2? Or what do you think about Tank in Overwatch 2?
What got me back was friends. They were playing
Yeah.
it, so I joined them. I was like, oh, cool. And what was thing was Overwatch 1, I didn't want to play tank ever. But
Mm.
open queue, meaning you get a whole bunch, you get like 6 people who want to play DPS, and it's like,
Mm-hmm.
well,
I remember those days.
it's like, all right, let me just go Rhine and hold up a shield because that was literally all I knew how to do.
Hmm.
I did not learn Overwatch 1 like at all.
Right. Right. So what? I guess obviously it sounds like you've not only reapplied yourself to tank, but you've kind of like reapplied yourself. Period. It doesn't sound like you were super serious in Overwatch 1. So why is this now like not necessarily serious, but a more serious application for you?
I'd really say it's just because I enjoy the game a whole lot. I appreciate the game a whole lot more than I used to, and it's like there are. I think I mentioned this in this, but it's like it is a game that I have enough fun with to where I actually want to push through that um like really difficult slump, like the
Mm.
what's it, Dunning Kruger, where you're
Mm.
at
Yeah,
you realize, oh shoot, I'm actually at the bottom,
yeah,
and you
yeah,
have to push through that because it's like I mentioned fighting games,
yeah.
like those were really difficult for me to like want to. It was difficult for me to want to play, and in order to get better, I had to be playing, and it's like I would have to go and practice specific things like a combo route, and it's just like I just did not want to sit down and do that. It wasn't fun enough to do so.
Right.
So Overwatch was the one game that I really wanted to push through that because I was having fun with it.
Yeah, yeah. If the process of improvement is fun, then you know you found your game, basically. Yeah, makes sense. Okay. Okay, sounds good. Now, why are you back on the tank grind? Because you talked about like your open queue experience of like 3 DPS and so like, but obviously that's not a problem in Overwatch 2. So why are you still sticking with tank then? What about the role? Is it just where you've always historically enjoyed the most, or yeah, I guess just why tank?
I like the characters.
Good answer. Good answer. And you play a little bit of you play a lot of them, like, at least according to your form.
I focus on 3 primarily, but it's like this would be a good situational pick. I'll go
Sure.
whatever,
Sure. Sure.
except for
What's
Ball and Doom.
Yeah, I see that. And hog. I assume. At least your form says that. Has that
Yeah,
changed recently?
I literally played Hog for like the first time ever. a few games.
Okay, good. So I don't feel guilty talking to you. I can't be enabling hogmains here. Yeah. Yeah, trust. I'm so annoyed about that rework. The only people that like that rework are people that only abused Hog anyway. So it's like, your opinion doesn't matter. Primarily Ryan, JQ, and Sigma. Why those tanks? I love those tanks actually. Those are definitely some of my favorite tanks to play. But why those tanks particularly?
For Ryan and Junkerqueen, it really comes down to I really like those characters, and especially like Junkerqueen. I love the black. I love metal music. It's like, all right, that skin's great. And then Ryan, it's funny because I mentioned I did not like playing Ryan in Overwatch 1, but I ended up playing Overwatch 2. Wow, Ryan's actually fun in
Yeah.
and,
Yeah.
And
no shield bot, and all of a sudden you're like, oh, the scales have fallen from my eyes. I can actually.
it's like
I get it now.
It's fun. It's fun to swing at things.
Yeah, agreed.
And Sigma, because it's like he's like almost universally never bad.
Yeah. I mean, I think this
you can get like, especially on some maps where it's just like, oh, it's a sniper map, and it just feels terrible to not play Sigma.
Yeah, agreed. I think one of the things with Sigma too is it's just the nature of rank. People like to play poke DPS a lot. Like, if they're on Hanzo or Widow or Sojourn or Zen or Ana, like if there's anything that you can like poke out, then Sigma's gonna feel good. So yeah, okay, makes sense. About what's your like percentage breakdown of characters? I guess like I played mostly this, a little bit of that. If you have like a career profile screenshot, that's even better.
What's my? I would say that current competitive's probably a good reflection of that breakdown.
Okay.
Ryan 7, Junkerqueen 2, Sigma 2.
Okay, so mostly Ryan. We said Ryan 7. You said.
Yeah, and then
Yeah.
Junkerqueen is
2.
Closer,
Okay.
much closer to Sigma.
Okay, makes sense. And then what are there any other tanks that have like more than an hour or have 1 hour?
Oh, Orisa.
Orisa? Okay. And then when is your swap to Orisa?
Usually when I feel like I'm getting like really, really CC'd and I just don't want to deal with it.
Sure. I'd be curious to see what circumstances where that swap is happening, because a lot of the comps where Ryan or JQ might really struggle, Sigma on paper should feel good. I think that you have a decent answer for almost everything with your hero pool. So I think honestly, depending on, maybe we'll get onto it in today's gameplay, but I think in general, you shouldn't necessarily feel the need to swap to Orisa. I think Sigma in most of those circumstances should be okay, if that makes any sense. I just want to make sure that you're being efficient with your time. That's all, especially if you're looking to improve. Because I think if the meta shifts or your tastes change and you all of a sudden want to play more Orisa, that's fine. But then I would probably recommend at that point dropping one of your tanks. Like I think what you're doing right now with your playtime, a 3 heroes is pretty nice pool. I would try to stick with that as much as you can.
Sense.
Just obviously you can change those heroes depending on the meta, but I think giving yourself more dedicated practice should be good. Okay, so 3 to 5 hours a day of Overwatch. How is that usually spent? Is that all ranked? Do you warm up? Do you play quick play? Do you play with friends? How does it usually go?
Usually I would just, when it's changed a little bit because I haven't been playing it like every day.
Yeah.
But I've been playing it almost every day with friends for around 3 hours, and it's mostly just spent quick play.
Okay.
Because my friends are a lot higher ranked than me.
Gotcha. So not much rank, mostly quick play.
Yeah.
Okay, sounds good. So mostly spent with friends, mostly quick play, correct? Just make sure.
Yes.
Okay, sounds good. Now, when do you play ranked, if you play ranked?
Usually when it's on my own and I've been playing a bunch of quick play, it's like, all right, I feel pretty warmed up.
Sure.
I want to go like see, all right, what have I learned?
Okay. Makes sense. I will say here's the thing. These are the facts, okay? the best way to improve is generally solo queue, so you can just focus on yourself and not have to worry about communicating, worry about anything else. Just focus on your habits and things that you need to be doing better. It's not the best way to rank up necessarily, but it's the best way to practice. The best practice quality is competitive, just because they're players of your skill level, not higher, not lower. And the competitive rule set is more conducive to consistent practice rather than quick play, where you do an attack and you requeue, and you do a defense and you requeue, and you do a cough. And if you get King of the Hill, you're lucky, right? Because you can play all 3 rounds potentially. So that being said, playing with friends and quick play is really, really fun. I assume that's probably why you spend a lot of time doing so. Problem is, it's just not the most efficient way to improve. So here's what you need to do. I think you should continue to play quick play with friends, but you need to find out how serious am I about improvement and ranking up? And then almost like some kind of corny old school alchemist, you need to find what percentage of your playtime, based off of how important ranking up is to you, what percentage of your playtime is solo queue ranked, and what percentage is quick play with friends. Does that make sense?
It does.
Now, I've worked with a lot of people that are they want to improve their gameplay, but they're not super serious about ranking up. So they'll do 1 ranked game a day, and then they'll just quick play with friends. You know what? That's totally fine. I almost don't play ranked at all right now. I almost exclusively play quick play with friends, but I don't have any goals of ranking up. So for you might be I think let me look at your goals here. Short term, ingrain a new piece of Overwatch logic in my mind, heat of the moment. Long term, I want to reach Grandmaster in the level of Overwatch 1 Grandmaster before the ranks got inflated. So that's a pretty ambitious goal. So it may be something that's realistic for you. It may be that's totally unrealistic for you, because the amount of work that would take to get there would make the game not as fun for you, right? Maybe if you were to rank up a little bit more, maybe you could actually duo queue with your friends and ranked. I don't know. But I will say, let's just focus on the short term rank for you. I think are you plat 3 still?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's get to diamond. So what are you doing right now? What is a small adjustment? And I mean small adjustment that you can stick with, that's going to keep the game fun, but maybe make the game a little bit more practice productive. You tell me.
A small adjustment.
Schedule-wise, specifically.
Oh, schedule-wise.
Mm-hmm.
I guess it would just be
This might be something that you just might need to think about on your own. If you feel like that's fine. But I guess that is the question that needs to be answered, if that makes any sense.
schedule-wise.
Would that be a ranked game before you queue with friends? Would that be 2 ranked games before you queue with friends? Would that be 1 day a week or 2 days a week where your friends don't come on until later anyway, so you can actually get 4 or 5 ranked games in before you queue? I don't know. I guess that's kind of again, that's the question that needs to be answered, if that makes any sense.
I guess it would probably be after queuing with friends for a while. Now
Sure.
I'm warmed up.
Sure.
Play.
Now, how long do go ahead? How long do you usually queue with friends before you're feel warmed up?
Before I'm warmed up, say probably around 3-4 games.
So 3-4 games with the friends.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, that's fine. I mean, I think as long as you're not too tired, right? I would not say it's time to queue ranked after I've played quick play for 3 or 4 hours, but 3 or 4 games is fine. I don't know. To be honest with you, I would go and try it and figure out what works best for you. Most people I talk with who have this this social problem, you're just too popular, generally do better playing their ranked games sooner rather than later, so they can kind of give their full energy to the first few games and then just kind of chill with friends afterwards. But maybe for you, it's kind of flip-flopped a little bit, where you play a couple of games with friends, warmed up, then go into rank, do a little bit of that, and maybe go back with your friends. I don't know. And maybe it's a daily thing, maybe it's a weekly thing, maybe it shifts, it changes. I don't really know. But I will say that is something that is a low-hanging fruit to address, at least to a small extent, that's going to help you over a long period of time improve. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. Does it need to be, oh, I need to stop playing with friends? Doesn't even need to be playing, I need to play a lot less with friends. It just needs to be, I need to try and play a tiny bit more solo queue. Just a little bit more. Make it consistent. Don't try and like revolutionize how you play because it's going to be hard to stick with it. Because ultimately, if you enjoy playing with friends, you need to be playing with your friends. Because I understand how that goes. And then obviously, in the meantime, even if you are playing with friends, we can talk about some things that you can practice in those quick play games. Sound good?
Yep.
Okay. Any questions so far?
Nothing I can think of.
Okay, what do you feel is holding you back from improving? Understanding and mentality, things that should be simple, logic I just can't figure out, and apply to your gameplay. This frustrates me and I get depressed and I either start playing much worse or just stop playing for the day. These issues normally make me just stop playing games, but Overwatch is the only one I want to stick with and keep going. So talk to me a little bit about that, because that sounds rough.
It's the same thing I mentioned earlier with fighting games, where it's like you gotta play to improve,
Mm-hmm.
but fighting games, it's like I would just hit a roadblock where it's like I don't know what I need to do, and it's like I would play Guilty Gear like Strive with friends. That's a more simple fighting game than like some of the other fighting games they play, the older Guilty Gears. But it would come down to like I just would not know how to approach a situation to make a decision that would be effective. I couldn't look at a situation and see all of my options and go, I want to try that. I would literally just be running through the motions, and it's like I said, that you have 10 hours of experience repeated 100 times.
Right. Okay. So it's about like knowing how to apply yourself at it. Like sometimes thinking outside of the box. Like I don't understand, so I just apply myself brainlessly, but I still don't understand what's going on. Kind of, sort of.
Yeah.
Okay. What specifically, is there anything that you specifically have been trying to apply yourself and had mixed success? Like anything in game, any in game decision or matchup, or just something specific?
I've just always been trying to adjust positioning and deciding when do I make the decision to actually go in, and when do I like really need to play slow.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
this is another thing. When it came to your tank guide,
Mm-hmm.
the three things you mentioned, um, the most favorable 1v1, level of aggression,
Mm-hmm.
and timing.
Mm-hmm.
Level of aggression, I think, is the one that like I think I was not able to grasp as easily, because like I remember one instance where I was playing a game and it's like knowing when to peel for the teammate and actually go hit the tank, because that was
Right.
because like it was like I was on Rhine versus Zarya, and the Zarya backed off for a moment, so I ignored the Zarya,
Mm-hmm.
and then the Zarya came back, and because I had moved away, I was not in a favorable position to help my teammates, and
I
they
see.
died to a charged Zarya.
I see. Okay. I think that's one of those things where it's like you can understand the concept itself, just like you can understand, like, generally, like, hey, eating healthy is good for your body and being exercising. It's like you can understand the base fundamental, but you still kind of have to look on a case by case basis to find what works best for you, and just understanding how it applies in each example. Like okay, so I know that like I can focus tank, I can focus DPS, but I understand that like I want to be a threat, but I need to know like exactly how to apply that. And that comes with a lot of repetition. Because even if you get to the point to where like I feel like I really understand this concept, I'm really good at like kind of like now you have to actually go do it in game, right? Because that's the hard part. I mean, that's why I'm not top 500 all roles, right? I could be if I practice it, but I don't practice it as much as I could. So knowing isn't the same as being able to do it, right? And I think like especially in a fast-paced game like Overwatch, it's not, you don't have time like I don't even know, like chess, to be able to sit down and just think about each matchup and just take each move down slowly. You have to make these decisions so quickly that like even the act of thinking in of itself can be slow, if that makes sense. So you need to be just like know it, learn it, and then be able to do it almost without thinking. But we'll look at that in the replay code, I'm sure. Okay. Sleep looks good. Do you have any other questions before we look at some gameplay here?
Nothing I can presently think of.
Okay. Okay. Do you want to pull up a replay code here, and we'll get started here.
Uh, Looking for one of them. I added notes to several replay codes, so I have more than I have like
Uh-huh.
6. But
Sure. Sure.
uh, this one was a quick play game, Ilios on Junkerqueen.
Oh, nice. Okay. Let me some Junkerqueen. Got it. Okay. Okay, we'll take a look here. So, is there anything that you've been working on with Junkerqueen recently? Wait, Spensicle. That's actually that's such a great name. That's phenomenal. Go ahead. Sorry. Anything you've been working on with Junkerqueen?
I don't have anything specific I can list.
Okay, sounds good. We'll just take a look at it. So, what is Junkerqueen good at? What are things that you're trying to do with a character? What are some things that like makes her unique and powerful compared to other tanks? Even
Um, Offensive ability
sure.
and
Okay.
a smaller hitbox for a tank.
True, actually. So, how do you leverage that? Like, even look at the enemy composition, right? So, what are some things that you might be looking to do, or you would like to do if the situation provides itself, or I don't know.
Probably try to pull in that Alarian and use the act.
Yeah, sure. Who else? What else?
Soldier and
Yep.
probably just shoot the tracer.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, keep going, keep going. What about the Kiriko? Anything you can do with her?
Say probably just knock out her cooldowns.
Sure,
And just
sure.
walk at her, swinging axe, and then she uses Suzu, and then if things get bad for her, she teleports away, and then she's somewhere else.
Right, but then you force her CDs right out of the fight, exactly. And also, if anybody else in your team can go for her, she doesn't have those same CDs to keep herself alive anymore. Okay. Now, Roadhog's an interesting one. How do you play that matchup?
I don't want to look at him.
Okay.
Especially on this map, he'll just pull me in if I'm not like constantly aware of where he is at and where he's trying to throw the hook.
Sure. Now, what if he doesn't have hook?
Shoot him.
Right.
Or on this map, maybe if he's playing around that, throw my knife, try to pull him into the pit.
Exactly. It's like one of those tank trades. So we talk about tank trades like level of threat, you're the 1v1. You might not be able to kill Hog, but if you don't have anybody else to shoot and you can shoot him easily, you will do a lot of damage and force a lot of resources onto Roadhog. So if, say, you're playing JQ and you're playing around Hook really well, and you're doing a ton of damage to Roadhog, okay? And he is not doing a ton of damage to you. What does that mean for his supports? What does that even mean for him? What does he have to do?
Can you repeat that?
Sure. So if you're doing a lot of damage to Roadhog and he's not doing a lot of damage to you, what does this team have to do?
They have to pocket him.
Right. So then what does that mean for your DPS? What does it mean for your supports?
More favorable battles.
Right, exactly. Even just the fact that your supports, if you're not taking a lot of damage and their supports have to pocket him more than they have to pocket you, then that means that your supports can do more damage, or they're under less threat or under less pressure. And even just shooting a Roadhog and now they had to use Suzu or they had to use Pylon on him or whatever, like that means that your DPS or your supports have an easier time in the rest of the battlefield. So to me, like tank trading obviously is not always the priority, but if you don't see an opportunity to go chop on that soldier or to go chop on that Iliari or whatever, then you can spend the time winning the tank trade. And I think it's something that a lot of tanks can do if you're not playing Winston, right? But it's about knowing when to go for it and when not to go for it. Make sense?
Yes, and something for this round or replay.
Yeah.
I wrote in a note, what do I do? Because I was very confused as we got rolled.
Okay, let's take a look then. Shout out from Spawn. Seems okay. Obviously, you won't have it on the initial trade, but we'll see. Last question for Junkerqueen is: what range are you most effective? Versus, let's say,
Mid-close.
squishies. Mid-close.
Yeah.
Right. What about tank? How good are you at a Roadhog point blank range?
Not the greatest.
Not the greatest. What
Could
about versus a lot of tanks? I think you're not the greatest in point blank range, but you're very good at that midish range. So let's see. So I like what you're trying to do, but I want to think, why are you going for this squishy here? Can you shoot the Roadhog from your position here?
I'd have to walk up to shoot the Roadhog.
Right. So too far away, right? Too awkward. Okay. So then you're going to go for the supports over here. Okay. That seems fine. What is the best way and quickest way to get to those supports with the element of surprise?
Through the tower.
Through the tower, right? Now, why is that better than what you do here?
Pick up your feet, you drongos.
Like you said, element of surprise.
Right. Exactly. It's all about, and it's even just the cover. It's the cover of being inside here, easier access to get to here. Because here, it's too direct, too easy. So then this is the right play, right? But you've lost the element of surprise. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Now, I will also say, in terms of mechanics, what is Gracie used for? Besides just, damage and healing and so on.
Self-healing.
Self-healing, right? But what else? Look at it here, right?
Pick up your feet, you drongos.
What are you Gracieing for? Because this is good. This is what are you knifing for?
Trying to pull him in.
Trying to pull him in, right? So this knife here is something that you really need to put effort into and a full focus into. Because you need that so that you can dive, essentially. Kind of like a dive tank, but you need that shout or that Gracie to make that work. Does that make sense? Now, this fight, your Torb died almost immediately. That's on him. That's not as much on you, but there's still stuff to learn from that, right? We need to get out. Okay, yeah, we're a little slow. Okay, let's keep going. Sometimes games are just going to be total dumpster fires, and there might not be anything that you could have done necessarily to win the game, but that game will still show errors and mistakes that you need to fix for future games. If that makes sense.
Yes.
Like, for example, right here, right? So, what do you see here?
Roadhog, close range.
Right. But even that, like, you're going for the tracer, right? You miss a knife. You miss a carnage. And just nothing happened, right? So it's a bit of a... What do you think this is? Is this an understanding? Is this a mechanics thing? What do you think? Just feels a little bit rushed, right?
Yeah.
Feels a little rushed. Okay. Good. You see, even here, right? So this is why we put so much attention on Gracie, because I promise you, this is not a good representation of your mechanics. Watch this Gracie right here. What were you aiming for there? Looked like the Iliari, maybe? Right? But your aim's not that bad, right? I know you need to lead your shot a little bit, but then you'd aim it just a little bit to the left here, right? But look at where this one is. Do you see that?
Yep.
So what's the problem here? Is it my mechanics are bad? Well, not really, right? What's the problem?
Throwing it just on cooldown.
Basically,
Really
right.
thinking about it.
Exactly. That's it. Exactly. Right. Because the best way to improve your mechanics is to think about it more, to really put emphasis on it. Because I promise you that if you really put effort into this, you might have actually hit it. Right. And even if you do miss it, at least you're practicing your mechanics the right way. Because this is a huge problem here. Like, you need that. Because again, that's another swap, or what am I saying? Swap. Chop, where nothing happened. Right. And you need that not only for your pressure, but you need it so that you don't freaking die. Because that's your healing. That's a huge chunk of healing. It's like 60, 70, 80 health. And so that may or may not have been the difference between you living and dying here, or at least having the time to get your shout off. And then also detail here too. Obviously, it's like, you know, make sure that you're closer to full HP when you do pick this. Okay, let's keep going here.
Nah, I just remembered, because this is something I do all the time, is even if I don't hit the initial hit of Gracie, I throw it out just to get and try to get the pull back. Damn it.
Yeah, exactly. I
And
mean, that's
start like get some self-healing going. So.
exactly. It's really important to get some sort of self-healing going, just a trickle, you know, even just a trickle. Nice. Ah, you're killing me with these. You gotta hit him. So I think they're doing a good job booping you. But then you need to be really walking, like leaning into these, because you pull him in. I mean, watch his body. Bam, right? There's your opportunity to carnage this. You get you're a little too late with it, and so then you get outbursted by the enemy Iliara. You see that? She boops you back. So just learn the timing a little bit better. Nice. Sure. Nice. There you go. Okay. I mean, even this one, it's funny because this is like a Hail Mary. But it really seems like you were expecting him to go to the left, and turns out, look. Oh my goodness, like it cuts, like it was almost like a brilliant knife. You know what I'm saying? So you've just proved to me that you actually can have pretty decent Gracie mechanics when you're really focused, right? So I want to see that level of effort with all your Gracies from now on, right?
It's like fighting games. Try to go for a read.
I mean, unfortunate, but sure. Again, reasonable Gracie. Like, check this out, right? You see them peek this corner here? You throw it exactly where you want it to, right? And so look, bam, bam. Forces her outburst, forces her pylon, and she still almost dies, right? Really, really nice knife there. Now remember, you want to get to these squishies. How are you going to do it?
Through the tower?
Through the tower, right? Now, if they expect you there and they peek you, then you could sneak through this way, right? Heck, you could even sneak through this way if you think that they're looking in here, right? But you got to be thinking like that right now, right? That visor is basically done. You got to go. And then what do? You go directly at them, right? Now, again, was this fight winnable? I don't know. I think your team was kind of having a hard time here. I'm not going to lie. But that's just the nature of a team game, quick play or ranked. So now that this round is over, what are some patterns that may not have won you this round, but will allow you to win other rounds? What are some things that you need to work on?
Really focus on Gracie and element of surprise.
Exactly. Element of surprise with how you're getting close to people. Just a little bit, right? Not going for crazy hard flanks all the time, but just not being so direct and landing that Gracie. Okay, those are the big ones. Now, there's some other details as well, but I think we need to keep an eye on them and not... Let's see what we see. Okay, any questions?
Nothing I can think of.
Okay, sounds good. Nice. Now, I don't love that front line trade, but it's not terrible if you hit that carnage. The way I look at the Rhine trade is you can win the front line trade if you're consistently landing your CDs, because you'll give yourself a lot of damage and a lot of sustain. If you do not land a lot of CDs on the Rhine will kill you. Does that make sense? So stuff like this, I might have carnaged right away, first off here, right away, but that's really important that you hit that. That chunked him down. This, very important, chunked him down. This again, really important, chunked him down. That little melee there, also important, right? And do you see his HP is slowly trickling down? You see that? You know? So that's perfect. Now, the question is you've seen my tank guide, right? You should not be focusing the enemy tank, right? Well, what do you see here?
From my angle, all I see is the tank.
That's exactly it. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. If you'd been really smart, not even smart, but really aware, you might have heard Iliari here and been able to go for a quick chop. Like you see the kind of like the flank here. You shoot here, you peek around. Ooh, Iliari. Maybe shout, go for her, right? That probably would have been better. But if you can, all you can see is the enemy tank and no other squishy is accessible, win the tank war so that when you win that, watch how this fight starts. Only person that you can really go for is the tank, right? You see this? Only person you can really go for is the tank. But as you win the tank war, look at how this tank positions and look at how his backline positions. Now who can you go for? You see it?
Yes.
So you won the tank war. Now you can skip the tank and go for backline. But you had to earn that. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So the key thing, though, is being able to recognize this and not to get what I would describe as being tunneled. And, okay, I've been beating on this Ryan over and over and over again. He's low, he's low, he's low. Now here, look at you. Nice. This is good. This is good. You see an opportunity? You go for it. You didn't hit the Gracie, so you failed. But the idea was perfect. Did you see that? You won the tank war. You forced him back. He's now shielding. He's not doing any damage to you. You shout. You fish for Gracie. It wasn't super well aimed. But even then, it still forces a little bit of pressure on her. So she's like coming up here. She's going up here. And so she's like, ooh, she backs off just a little bit. So it's not great because you missed the Gracie. But, yeah, I like it. And there you go. Keep winning that tank trade. And then here... what do you see here?
I could have run at both the Ilari and Kiriko because the Rhine was...
But there's somebody even juicier. Do you see him?
I do, the soldier back there.
Why is he better than the Iliari or Kiriko? It's not the target. It's the position. Why is that positioning better?
He's on the high ground level of, like you said, level of aggression.
Right. What's the problem with going with the Kiriko or Iliari? Remember when you went for the Kiriko a second ago? Why did it feel awkward? You see? This is you see how you had to like go through the Reinhardt to get to him?
Mm-hmm.
You don't want to have to go through the tank to get to the enemy backline. Sometimes you might have to, but it never feels very good, right? Case in point, right? He literally, even just the body block alone here is annoying, right? So then now we skip forward after you popped off here, right? Winning the tank trade. Do you see, wait, no, it's a little bit after this. Okay, so here, do you see how here, well, where are we here? Where's the timestamp I want? Yeah, okay, it's right here. So do you see why that soldier's a more attractive target now?
Because there's no Rhine in the way.
Because there's no Rhine in the way, right? You force them back on a point because you've been winning the tank trade like crazy. So now, just shout and go for him. Now, the funny thing is if he runs away and lives, is that still good for your team?
Still beneficial because now he's not on the high ground putting pressure.
Exactly. And you are. That's the best part. If you're BAP or Genji or Moira even follow you, or even just for you, just you here feels way better. You have an off angle. You've gotten rid of him on the high ground off angle, and you've taken the high ground off angle. And now if the Reinhardt turns to chase you, who's there to protect the Iliari and Kiriko from your backline? Nobody. It's over. Okay? So this is why like the target focus thing is so important. You've been doing a great job winning the tank trade. I really like that you've been going for the Kiriko, but now it's okay to go for somebody else. Now, if you do shout at this Kiriko and Carnager, I'm still going to be happy though, because I still think it's a good play. And there it is. Nice job. Even here, love to see it. This is good. This is good. The only mistake that you're making here is mechanical, because their Rhine is doing a better job than you are. You're doing a good job, but see, this is where people like go to me and they're like, oh, Spilo, what do I do? When I go for the backline, the Rhine just goes my team. Well, he's doing a better job than you are. So you look at this here. Huge. Nice job. Good shout. You must hit this Gracie. You don't lead it. You miss it. If you hit this Gracie, this guy's dead. Right? It's that simple. And the way to look at this is it's like, oh, well, if I miss a Gracie, do I just die? Yeah, sometimes you do. Especially if the Gracie is respectfully this easy to hit. I mean, this is not a hard Gracie to hit, right? You need to hit it. That's it. So you fail here. Kind of missed a shot there. Whatever, not the end of the world. And then now it's over. Because now you're out in the open, no cover. And then now you're dead. Does that make sense?
Yes.
It's really simple. Really, really, really simple. Now, you also had the option here, after you killed the Kiriko, to go for what target? You could have gone for a soldier, or you could go for who? Obviously. Ilari. One or the other. You needed to get one of the kills, though. You did neither. GG's.
I'm getting back in there.
It's a hard rule out there, but if he does a better job trading backlines than you do, then that's it. Now remember here, obviously, who should you be focusing right now?
The only one I can see.
The only one you can see, right? So focus on, maybe look a little bit at Tracer here, but really just all you could do is win the tank trade. Choose that, So you look at that trade right there. Is there anything you could have done about that right there? Anything at all?
About the what?
The Bastion being dead. No.
Yeah.
Nah, nothing you could do. Again, there's going to be some certain situations where there's not a whole lot you could do. That was one of them. That's another one right there. Okay? Get him. Nice ult. I was going to say, that's your opportunity right there. No way he just did that. Oh, no. Oh, that's unfortunate. That's unfortunate.
Oof.
Okay. Yeah, that happens. So good ult. Great ult, I would even so far to say. But another miss, Carnage. Gracie. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie with you, mate. It's mostly the Gracies that we're seeing because it's been a while since you've hit it on anything other than the enemy Ryan. That being said, I think that you're doing a lot of things right in how you're approaching these fights. You're just not executing on the details. Does that make sense?
Yes.
The ult was good. The idea was good. The Ryan is chasing you around. Your team is feeding. A lot of your team is feeding, which is going to happen. So again, in those situations where you are doing okay, you don't ever look at those and be like, oh, like it's fine. I did good. Be like, well, yeah, my team was mostly the reason why we're losing this, but I still have so many things that I could be working on. So I'm going to focus on that.
And that's really what I approached it. I looked at this game and I was like, what do I need to do?
Yep.
That's why I saved the replay. If I was like,
Exactly.
oh, it was just my team feeding, I wouldn't have saved the
Right.
replay.
Right. Exactly. That's good. Well, good then. That's very good to hear. Because the thing is like there's going to be games like this where it's like I feel like I did okay compared to my team, but then there's also going to be games where you were like completely feeding your brains out, right? And it's your teammates going to have to deadlift you. That's just the nature of team games. People are going to have good games. They're going to have bad games. So, okay, we win one. The team actually pops off there. So. Get him. Okay, maybe he's too far. Fish for a pull. Oh, almost. Now that is ballsy, but you know what? I respect it. I respect it. Because you kind of see like how scary it was where you just go right through the ride, right? But you know what? Okay, sure, it worked, You get your bleeds all ticking up. Pull some resources, pull some attention. Now, the only thing I would say here, the only thing you need to be careful of is where is your team set up to fight? Do you know?
It's like they're just sitting on point.
Right. So is there an optimal location where you would want to fight? I don't think where you're fighting now is bad. Is there a better corner, let's just say, for you to fight on?
Probably the high ground.
Up here?
No, the high ground by the point.
Oh, like here.
Yeah.
Yes. Just a slightly better position for your Sombra, a slightly better position for your Widow, BAP. So I think do what you did, but do it here. This position here, I'm going to be very clear, is not bad. It's great. In fact, it might even be better for you, but it's not where your team is set up for, so you need to adjust. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Now, if your Sombra was over here, when your Widow is maybe like, here, then you're good to fight here. So just before the fight starts, do a 180, check your team's positioning, and then pick your positioning as a result. And it's a good general rule. All good. Now, this is where I would not chase, right? Because are you in a position? Is there a squishy near you right now? Use your spider senses.
Yes.
Yes, there is.
And, like, here are still right there.
Yeah. So just zone them. There's that, Gracie. I love the cover usage here. Love the cover usage. By the way, check what this knife does. There it is. You see that? Pulls her out of position. And not only, but now you're going to get the mother of all carnages. You see that? Yeah. Huge. Double carnage.
4 seconds cooldown.
Yeah, you can do it again. Now, again, I don't mind you carnaging this Rhine, but remember that these guys have creeped forward and you have your shout now. So you can go for another, what I would call a dive, right? So it's okay. It's okay to shout here, but remember, it's kind of those situations where it's like, you've only been able to shoot Rhine. But now you see it, right?
Yes.
You've won the tank trade. You've pulled them forward. Now you can shout. You can do like, you ever played Hungry Hippos? That stupid like game as a kid. You ever play that?
I literally could not remember it, but I remember seeing advertisements for it.
Okay, I gotta send you a picture really fast.
It's like the four hippos and like a
yeah.
The goal is to just smash a button to
yeah. So you like stick out
many things.
Yeah. You like press the button and like sticks out your little hippo. You know, you like chomps down. You know, that's kind of like what a Junkerqueen shout dive is, right? Where it doesn't go very far, but it goes just enough to get the marbles, right? So that's kind of like what you want to do here, right? Where it's like, okay, go hungry hippo that soldier Kiriko. Do like a little mini dive, right? Go chomp on him. So this is fine. Like it's not bad, but it's very important to not get tunneled on the Rhine mid-fight. Does that make sense?
Yes.
That being said, really nice job with your Gracies there. Like that unironically was the difference there. Like that one Gracie on that Kiriko was the difference. Because that entire fight goes differently if you don't land that Gracie. You're way lower in HP. Nice ult. I mean, I'm zooming through this because you're just absolutely owning right now. So you're doing great. But it's all those Gracies that matter. It's the Gracies that matter. Now, again, I want to remind you, where's your team position? Do you know? You see your Sombra, but yeah, you don't. So you got a problem. You got me?
Yeah.
Now, if I'm coaching your Widowmaker player, I'm going hoarse from screaming. Your Widowmaker is trolling right now. But it is so easy to go, oh, she's over here. I'm going to go back and hold here, right? If your Moira and Sombra refuse to rotate, then okay, you have to go forward. I know it sounds weird to play this psychology game, but this is all. The thing is like this is not a plat thing. This is a Grandmaster Top 500 Overwatch League thing. You have to adjust your positioning around your teammates. You have to. It will never not be relevant. So you might as well learn it now. It's easy to blame it on plat teammates, but it's never not going to be a problem. Kind of a weird shout. Go ahead.
It's like you say, I don't know. I'm sure this is something you have said, but it's like if you're in plat and have plat teammates, guess what? You're still on the team.
Yeah.
If the other team's plat and you're better than them, you climb anyways.
Exactly. If you're slightly more aware of your teammates' positioning and slightly better mechanically than your enemy tank counterpart, you'll win 55% of your games, which means you won't be in plat very long, right? Okay, let's see here. I appreciate you trying to break the pylon, but it costing you your shout kind of hurts. Carnage is fine. You need to back up. Gracie's fine as well. It's a good lamp. To be honest, I just think you guys just lose this game or lose this fight. They just pressed Q 4 times in a row. And you guys didn't even get a chance to use your EMP or BAP window. Again, I think the major takeaway for me here is that obviously you got your shout force because you tried to break pylon out in the open, and then you didn't play around your Widowmaker's positioning. So your Widowmaker is just body shotting a tank, which sucks. But to be honest with you guys just they had too many Qs. That's it. Okay. you want to do another code?
I have a Sigma code on.
Let's do it.
No, it's not Circuit Royale. What's the map that's like actually Paris? It is Circuit Royale.
Yeah. See, there you go.
Yeah, this one was actually close, and I think this one I have a lot. This one is a Sigma gaming.
Let's do it.
Sigma's always good. I definitely want to look at some.
Sure.
Sigma.
Let's talk about the Queen, I guess, to finish it up. So Junkerqueen, what are some goals, some things to practice from what you've seen? A couple of details.
Focus on hitting Gracie and Element of Surprise.
Hitting Gracie. Do not get lazy with your mechanics. The key thing is it's like you're gonna miss a lot of Gracies. Even the best Junkerqueens in the world miss a lot of Gracies. But you want to give it full attention. You need to hit the easy ones. You need to, even on the hard ones, really focus on hitting that shot because that's going to enable everything else. Okay, and then what else? You said sneaky?
Yeah.
Find times to dive backline through cover angles, short sightlines. Okay. Don't get tunneled on tank trade if there are other things you can hit. Because I want you to remember specifically, it's fine to tank trade as Junkerqueen if you can't reach or can't get to the other things, right? Totally fine. You're very good at it. You did a great job. But when you get the opportunity, either through winning the tank trade or being able to take more space or somebody overextends, right? Hungry hippo on that squishy. Make sense? Okay. And then last thing, we just check teammates.
It's like general awareness. Like,
yeah, checks before the fight starts.
Yeah, I don't, because like you mentioned team positioning and the in that one instance where I could have run at the soldier on high ground after the tank trade.
Yeah.
That's like, it's like just a general awareness thing, and it's like that's one of the things I definitely have been trying to focus on because it's there are times where I just don't even realize. I don't even like the kill feed happens and I don't even read it.
Right. Well, see, I will challenge you. I will disagree with you on the general awareness thing. I think it's very easy to blame general awareness, but it was actually just a very specific awareness. You just didn't check your teammate's position before the fight started. So how on earth are you supposed to know where they were fighting? Like Grandmaster players don't have better awareness than you by accident. They just do things that you don't do, right? Like they turn around and they check their team's position. They don't necessarily have like peripheral vision or eyes in the back of their head or some game sense. They just turn around. That's it, right? And like the soldier thing, right? The reason that they would have noticed that soldier there is because they would have been looking for him, right? They're not smarter than you or like these freaks of nature. So for you, it's like, even like the kill feed thing that you brought up, right? Why are they better at reading the kill feed? Because they practiced reading the kill feed, right? It's that simple.
That's like one of the things, like there are so many factors
that
should go into making a decision. And that's like I said, I want to just add another line of reasoning to where I can look at a situation,
right?
Make a more informed decision.
Exactly. What do they say about like babies' ability to like digest foods? You know, like you wouldn't want to give like an infant like a lasagna. You know what I'm saying? But what do? You know, you start them off with soft foods and like bananas and like fruits and then like, you know, and you slowly like their digestive system and their gut bacteria and whatever else like develops over time, right? That's kind of like what you need to be doing with your awareness. It's like you recognize that there are so many things for you to practice, but you can't like let that discourage you or overwhelm you. You just need to add like one more thing to your palette, for lack of a better term. You got me?
Yes.
And I would say the priority would be checking your team's position before the fight starts, but that can also extend to checking enemies' positioning or practicing reading the kill feed and things like that. Just one thing at a time. Slowly build that, and then you go from there. Okay, let's look at some Sigma. Any questions on the previous thing before we keep going?
Nothing I can think of.
All right, I'm good to run over. Let's aim for like another 10 minutes. You got another 10 minutes?
Yep.
Okay, let's see what we can do with 10 minutes here. So Sigma, all about spamming squishies. You can win the tank trade, but the nice thing that Sigma has that Junkerqueen doesn't is poke. Better poke, let's put it that way. So that you can win the tank trade, but the nice thing about Sigma is that you can also sometimes shoot past the tank trade and shoot people behind it, right? Which feels really, really good. So here you can't shoot anything, so you'll shoot Doom, but as you're shooting this tank, right? You see now that like, oh crap, our tank's lagged, we have to walk up, right? And then now who can you shoot?
whole team.
Anybody, right? Like, I honestly think that there's a good argument for like all 4 targets. Life Weaver is good. You could shoot Hans, you could shoot Sojourn, you could shoot Mercy. It's totally up to you, really. Sigma is just great at shooting squishies, and he likes squishies that don't move too fast because his shots are hard to land. But besides that, it's pretty easy. So nice job. One little detail here: do not let your shield break. So see the thing right there.
Yeah, and it's longer cooldown.
So you know it's just a habit. It's one of those awareness palette things, you know? It's one of those things you got to think about. Yeah, keep shooting, keep shooting. You remember to recall your shield. Nice job. Now, this is probably okay because you got some teammates with you, but you need to be aware of what? Think back to the Junkerqueen. What was the problem with your Junkerqueen?
Checking team positioning.
Right. So now I understand there hasn't been a lot of time to do that, but I might have done that like 3 or 4 seconds ago before you turn this corner, because the bad news is that this is what we got going on here. You see this?
Both supports are on the cart.
Right. Now, both supports, I'm going to be honest with you, should not be on cart, but one of them does have to be. So best case scenario, this is a 4v5. So this is fine, but just be very careful. If I turn around and I see 2 supports on cart, I'm like, all right, I can keep poking here, but I just need to be very careful. Make sense?
Yeah.
Shield breaks again. Just be aware of that. So even though you don't get punished for it, it's something you need to be aware of. Now that was a nice rock. Because remember we talked about Gracie? Same thing applies to rock. I'm going to point out a rock that was not so good. And it was an even easier rock to hit than the Hanzo one, and yet you missed it. Ready? Ugly, right? It's focus. It's focus, because you hit this one, which was harder to hit on a smaller hitbox, and yet you hit it. Why? Because you were focused. You're putting in the effort necessary. Good shield. Good try. I mean, that one, it felt like your focus is just hard to hit, so. Shield is broken again. That's now the 4th time. Maybe we cap? Maybe we cap? I mean, come on. Nice job. That was sick. Keep shooting. You're forgetting about your shield a little bit too much. Do you see it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So I think shield awareness. Go ahead.
It's like the Sigma thing is like you can use the shield for just anti-sniper, like just
Yes.
like deny a sight line. But,
Exactly. But
there's no sight line to deny from
Right.
anyone because they're all dead.
Exactly. Well, the Sojourn has slid off, and then the Hanzo drops. So now I'm immediately recalling my shield as I'm shooting that Hanzo, right? It's obviously something that's tricky to manage, obviously, because you're doing like 2 or 3 different things at the same time. But that is something that with more practice, you'll be able to do 3 or 4 or 5 things all at once with Sigma. Good try in the rock. It seemed like you were going for the Hanzo there. It just didn't hit. Now, it sounds weird to say this, but I don't mind shielding this initially. But there's a question in my head here about kind of similar to the Junkerqueen, where I understand shooting Doomfist initially, but has that backline walked forward? Do you know?
I don't know.
So you need to check, because my spidey sense says that I think they've walked forward right now to where you could actually ignore this Doomfist, just sit inside your shield and shoot backline, and there it is. You see it?
Yep.
And that's the most, because that's not just important for like, oh, you have to protect your team, but that's going to be, if you die to anything here, it's not going to be Doomfist, it's going to be Hanzo. So you need to shoot him. And sure enough, there it is. You see it?
Yep.
So it's good to focus the tank when it's only the tank that you can shoot, but as the tank's engaged, being able to control what's behind the tank is very, very good. If you'd had a rock there for that Doomfist, maybe it would be different, because you may have been able to kill him, but you didn't have rock. That's a good rock, though. But you see, he's just not dying. So you've gotten what I would call stuck on the tank trade, right? Where this backline is now almost inside of you. Mercy's inside of you. Life Weaver's inside of you. Hanzo's reachable. Sojourn you can't really deal with, but you could deal with 4 other squishies or 3 other squishies, and yet you're stuck on the Doomfist. Problematic, right?
Yep.
Okay. There you go. There you go. There you go. There you go. He's dead. Nice. That was beautiful right there. Look at how easy that was. That was beautiful. All right, I want to see this rock. Let's make this. Oh, it was good. It was close, right? It was close. Nice. I mean, that's unfortunate. Couldn't really stop that. It's all right. Good try. Stay on her. Stay on him. Stay on him. Stay on him. Stay on him. Good try. Again, if you missed that one, but it felt like you were trying to aim it, right? Like you really had your focus in. You just missed it. Don't let your shield break. Don't let your shield break. Shield broken. And this is just going to be mechanics. You missed the rock, but it did look like you were trying to hit it. You missing all your shots. I think that rock is okay. I think here, this is the way I look at Sigma, okay? Maybe this is a little detail. It's okay to shoot tank up. Obviously, he's the only thing you can shoot. And it's also okay to focus tank if you think that your rock is going to really screw him up, right? So if you hit that rock here, I think maybe he gets really low or maybe even gets his ultimate forced, right? So it's okay. But then here, immediately go back to shooting that Life Weaver, go back to shooting that Hanzo, go back to shooting that Sojourn or whatever else. Nice, you don't let your shield break. But yeah, I think in general here, this is mostly a little bit of target priority and then mechanics. Nice rock. Shield's broken again. But yeah, I think pretty consistent themes here, pretty consistent themes. Okay, so let's type some notes for Sigma. So what are you seeing with Sigma? Pretty direct, right?
Yeah, shield, letting shield break, a little bit of tunnel vision, and panic.
What else? Mostly a detail. Those are the two big ones, but anything else?
Can't remember the
Like rock, like Gracie.
oh.
Attention to rock mechanics. Put emphasis on aiming it, right? Same kind of thing. Don't get lazy. Okay. Yeah, I mean, nice job. I think the fluxes were really good. When you did turn your attention to backline, you made some huge plays. You also had some pretty decent rocks when you did focus on it really well. A couple of them missed, but that's just the nature of Sigma. It's hard to hit those things. But yeah, okay. Any questions?
Nothing I can think of